Have you ever wondered why we love to be scared? What is it about the things that go bump in the night that keeps us coming back for more? The roots of horror stretch back thousands of years, long before movies or even books. They're woven into the very fabric of human history, born from the shadows of our deepest fears. Ancient folklore and religious texts from across the globe are filled with terrifying figures. We see demons with twisted horns and sinister grins, witches casting curses under the pale moonlight, and restless ghosts wandering the earth, tied to unfinished business. These weren't just stories. They were warnings, explanations for the unexplainable, a way for our ancestors to make sense of a world filled with disease, famine, and the ever-present mystery of death. From the vengeful spirits of Japanese folklore to the grotesque demons of medieval European art, these early visions of horror laid the foundation for every scary story that would follow. They tapped into a primal fear of the unknown, the supernatural, and the evil that might lurk just beyond the firelight. As humanity moved out of the Dark Ages and into the Age of Enlightenment, you'd think our fears would simply fade away with the shadows, but they didn't. They evolved. In the 18th century, a new kind of terror emerged, not from ancient texts, but from the pages of literature. This was the dawn of the Gothic era. It all started in 1764 with a book called The Castle of Otranto by Horace. Suddenly, horror had a new home. Sprawling, decaying castles filled with secret passages, creaking doors, an ancestral curse. The setting itself became a character, oppressive and claustrophobic. Walpole's novel introduced elements that would become staples of the genre. A beautiful, imperiled heroine, a tyrannical villain, and a healthy dose of the supernatural. But the Gothic novel didn't just scare readers with ghosts and haunted armor. It delved deeper into the twisted corridors of the human mind. The fear was no longer just external. It became psychological. This shift towards internal terror reached its zenith with Mary Shelley's masterpiece, Frankenstein, published in 1818. This wasn't just a monster story. It was a profound exploration of creation, abandonment, and the monstrous nature of humanity itself. Victor Frankenstein isn't haunted by a ghost, but by his own ambition and the consequences of playing God. His creation, the so-called monster, is a tragic figure, driven to violence by loneliness and rejection. Shelley masterfully turned the mirror on society, asking a chilling question. Who is the real monster? The creature born of stitched-together corpses, or the creator who abandoned it? Frankenstein elevated horror from simple jump scares to a genre capable of exploring complex philosophical and ethical questions. It showed that the most terrifying monsters are often the ones we create ourselves, born from our own pride, prejudice, and fear. The Gothic era proved that what truly scares us isn't just a ghost in the attic, but the darkness that can reside within the human heart. But where did the ideas for these iconic monsters come from? While some, like Frankenstein's creation, were born purely from imagination, others have roots in the blood-soaked pages of history. The line between man and monster has always been terrifyingly thin. Let's travel back to 5th century Wallachia, a region in modern-day Romania. This land was ruled by a prince named Vlad III, but history would remember him by a more fearsome title, Vlad the Impaler. Vlad was a brutal, yet effective, ruler, known for his relentless campaign against the invading Ottoman Empire. His favorite method of punishment and psychological warfare was impalement. He would have his enemies, both foreign soldiers and disloyal subjects, hoisted onto large wooden stakes and left to die in agony. It's said that he once created a forest of the impaled, a grotesque display of thousands of bodies designed to strike terror into the hearts of his foes. He was a national hero to some, a sadistic tyrant to others. So how does this ruthless medieval prince become the most famous vampire in history? Fast forward 400 years to the late 19th century. An Irish author named Bram Stoker is researching his next Gothic novel. He stumbles upon accounts of this Wallachian prince, Vlad Dracula, named Dracula, meaning son of the dragon, as his father was part of the Order of the Dragon. Stoker was captivated. He borrowed the name and the reputation for cruelty, merging this historical figure with the rich folklore of vampiric creatures that existed throughout Eastern Europe. He combined Vlad's historical brutality with the supernatural traits of the undead, the thirst for blood, the immortality, the aristocratic charm, hiding a predatory nature. And so, Count Dracula was born, a perfect fusion of historical terror and supernatural myth. Vlad the Impaler provided the chillingly real foundation, the human capacity for monstrous acts, while the vampire legend gave it immortal wings. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most enduring horror stories are not entirely fiction. They are dark reflections of real-world figures and the atrocities they committed. From ancient demons and Gothic castles to historical monsters, the face of fear has changed dramatically over the centuries. But the core elements that scare us remain timeless. The journey from Vlad the Impaler to Count Dracula perfectly illustrates how horror evolves, absorbing history, folklore, and our own changing anxieties. This evolution didn't stop in the Victorian era. The 20th century brought horror to the silver screen, creating new icons of terror. Figures like Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees became the new monsters under the bed, reflecting modern fears of suburban decay and random violence. Today, horror continues to adapt. We have psychological thrillers that mess with our perception of reality. Cosmic horror that makes us feel insignificant in a vast Ankaringu universe. And found footage films that blur the line between what's real and what's not. What is it that truly unites all these forms of horror? From a medieval woodcut of a demon to a modern-day slasher film, it's the exploration of our most fundamental fears. The fear of death, the fear of the unknown, the fear of losing control, and the fear that we are not alone in the dark. Horror stories act as a safe way to confront these anxieties. They allow us to experience terror from the comfort of our couch, to face the monster, and live to tell the tale. They hold a mirror up to our society and to ourselves, revealing the darkness we try to keep hidden. Whether it's a ghost haunting a castle or an alien stalking a spaceship, the essence is the same. It's the thrill of the heartbeat in your chest, the shadow you see in the corner of your eye, and the question that has haunted humanity since the dawn of time. What are you afraid of? Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the history of horror. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the dark, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more explorations of the things that scare us. Let me know in the comments what horror topic you'd like to see next. Until then, stay curious and maybe sleep with a light on.